Okay, friends, you are warmly welcome for today's Sutta Studies. It is December 6th, Saturday. We would like to begin today's Sutta Studies by paying our homage to the Supreme Buddha by reciting Namo Tassa 3 times. Please join with me in respecting the Supreme Buddha with the Namo Tassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Homage to the Sublime One, the Worthy One, the Fully Enlightened One. Homage to the Sublime One, the Worthy One, the Fully Enlightened One. Homage to the Sublime One, the Worthy One, the Fully Enlightened One. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Friends, today's discussion is based on Sutta from Majjhima Nikaya, the middle and discourses of the Buddha. The Sutta number is 52. The book, the second book of the Majjhima Nikaya. As you know, the Sutta's name is Attaka Sutta. It's a discourse delivered by Venerable Ananda to a person from that particular place, Attaka. Before we go to the Sutta reading, I would like to share with you some background information about the Sutta and also content of the Sutta. In this Sutta, we do not see that Venerable Ananda is talking about the presence of the Buddha at all. That is because the Buddha, according to the commentarial work, the Buddha had passed away. As you know, it could be the time that Venerable Ananda, got ready for his presence at the First Sangha Council, or even after the Sangha Council, Venerable Ananda was living for a long time. So Venerable Ananda therefore did not mention anything about the Buddha in this discourse. We can find some discourses that Venerable the Bhante's Sangha members delivered. Even in those suttas where the Buddha was not present, the Venerable Ananda at the First Sangha Council mentioned that this is the monastery where the Buddha is. In that regard, the first assumption is right, because Venerable Ananda delivered this discourse between the passing away of the Buddha and the First Sangha Council, because Venerable Ananda himself mentioned that at one time I was there. Without using I, he mentioned his name as it is, and this person came to me and so on. So that is one of the information you may keep in mind, because it is related to the Dharma content in the Sutta into a certain extent. This Sutta highlights 11 ways of getting into Nirvana. At least, if you could not make it to the final emancipation called Arahantship, you would be an Anagami, the third level of enlightenment, by practicing one of the ways of the 11 factors. So entire Sutta goes as a discussion between Venerable Ananda and the person called Dasama from Attakanagara. And it is interesting because a lot of people ask today how we could get into enlightenment and which way we should go and what we need to do in terms of attaining enlightenment. We have a lot of such questions in mind, and this sutta highlights 11 points of entering into the right reflection called vipassana and breaking through the self-delusion. Let me start the sutta now. At one time, the Venerable Ananda was staying in the village of Beluva. It's called Beluva Gamaka, near Vaishali. If you have gone to India today, Vaishali is about 150 kilometers away from Rajgir, and it is situated between Rajgir and Kushinagar in Bihar province. Vaishali is famous because of so many reasons, such as delivering the Ratana Sutta and also the beauty of the people in in that country. The Vaishali is the capital of Vajji. So people over there were very colorful and handsome, beautiful. So that Vaishali has been one of the revered places by Indian at that time. So Belur Gamaka is in Vaishali, and Patna, today Patna, it was Pataliputra in ancient India. And as you know, Pataliputra was started by one of the ministers of Bimbisara, and the peak of the development of Pataliputra is recorded during the Emperor Asoka. So, Patna or Pataliputra is located 100 kilometers, as I remember, 100 kilometers away from Vaishali, even less than 100 kilometers. This is a little bit of geography, since we see the village name and also the city name in the sutta. At that time, the house lord Dasama of Attakanagara had arrived in Pataliputra on some business. This shows that Dasama from Attakanagara involved with some trading. Those days, merchants travel from one city to another with some items to sell. And when Pataliputra is considered one of the business hub, so that many people, came to Pataliputra for various purposes. So this Dasama should be a very good devotee of the Buddha. Why? In the next line, what this person does was, after his business activities, he went to a monastery called Kukkuta. Kukkuta is also called Kukkuta Park, where sometimes monks stayed for longer period, sometimes short period, sometimes longer period. He never forget to go to monasteries where monks lived, out of respect, out of curiosity, out of searching truth. So we see from the sutta that Dasama of Attakanagara went to Kukkuta's park and approached a certain monk. Having approached him, he saluted him and sat down at one side. Sitting thus at one side, the house lord Dasama of Attakanagara said to this monk, where Bante, where is Venerable Ananda now residing? I wish to see Venerable Ananda. Then the answer came from that unknown monk, that Venerable Ananda is now residing outside the village of Belur. Then householder Dasama, having finished his business in Pataliputra, went to Belur Kamak, as you know, near Vaishali, and approached Venerable Ananda with respect, with salutation, and so find a seat to have a discussion. When you read suttas, you see that monks welcome lay people with some sort of respect, and gave a seat. If there is one person coming, gave a seat, and if there are many, it is said that they also find seat. What kind of seat we talk about here is maybe a very small chair, maybe a bench, maybe a kind of wooden made things for them to sit, because monasteries are not well furnished those days, but they had enough facilities for monks abiding. In the Dharmasala, where monks discuss Dhamma and sometimes lay people can come and listen to, is a place of sharing Dhamma. Maybe there are enough facilities. So we see that after respecting monks, these people, took a seat and ready to have a long chat. Even in the town hall, they have these facilities. In Vaishali, we see Kutagara Sala is the main hall situated in the middle of the city for various purposes, such as king's participation for discussion and meeting, and even religious leaders come and do such things. So it's a community place. So we can assume that these places were well equipped with certain seating facilities. If we talk about the Shraddha on Dasama, that is interesting, because as I said you earlier, Dasama went to a business into Pataliputra, and having done it, he wanted to enrich his mind with some Dhamma conversation. So it seems that Dasama, as a lay devotee, followed the Buddha, particularly Venerable Ananda's intervention into many meetings between the Buddha and lay people, witnessed that even Dasama made it. So that Dasama knows about Venerable Ananda. Maybe Venerable Ananda's reputation was everywhere in that society because of his great qualities. So instead of asking some Dhamma questions from unknown monks at the monastery in Pataliputra, he wanted to find out Venerable Ananda and discuss the Dharma with him, because he knows that Venerable Ananda is the one who was close to the Buddha than anyone else, so that the possibility of knowing clear Dhamma is a thing. Discussion is like this. Bhante Ananda, is there any one thing that has been pointed out by the Buddha, who knows and says worthy and full awakened? This is the way the sutta tells the point is too long, so that I want to make it short and clear it for you. The Dasama asked the question, is there one way, according to the Buddha, is there one way that we can practice and attain enlightenment? Because the Buddha's teaching is a full package. It's a package which has many avenues. Buddha has pointed out different avenues, different points, different places for bhikkhus and bhikkhunis and lay people to step in and practice Dhamma. You don't need to do everything. Suppose we all live in Ottawa or Toronto, and how many highways, how many local ways we have to go to both cities. You don't need to drive down to the city with every roads. You just select one which is less traffic, and you go to the downtown of the city. That's how we do in a normal city. Likewise, with regard to attainment to full enlightenment, you can follow one path or couple of, depending on your skill, depending on your taste, depending on how you execute yourself in the noble teaching. So therefore, we can assume that even Dasama wanted to clear what is the one way, or what is the way that I could practice Dharma to reach to enlightenment. Is there just one way that we can practice and attain enlightenment? So Venerable Ananda said yes. This is the answer. Yes, Dasama, that one thing is explained by the Buddha, that you could practice and ardently, diligently, with resolution. Then you can liberate your mind from and attain supreme security from bondage that had not yet been attained. If you haven't attained to any stages of enlightenment, you could attain to them by following this particular practice. What is this? Bhante, please explain me. This is the first one. Here, householder, a monk, quite secluded from sensual pleasures, secluded from unwholesome mental state, enters and dwells in the first jhana, accompanied by initial application and sustained application, accompanied by zest and happiness born of seclusion. He, listen to these words. They may be difficult for you because these words in normal setting define something else. But when we come to Dharma, it explains some different things. We can solve this out by the discussion. You all know the first jhana. Jhana is a word given to a particular mental state when 5 hindrances are gone. In other words, jhana is a concentration level that your mind is undisturbed by sensual pleasures. We talk about jhana in the 8th factor of the Noble Eightfold Path. As you know, the Noble Eightfold Path is recorded in the 4th Noble Truth, and the jhana is being discussed in the last one. But if we categorize the Noble Eightfold Path into 3 as basis, we see Sila, Samadhi and Panya, morality, concentration and wisdom. The jhana is being discussed in concentration section, which has 3 aspects of the Noble Eightfold Path: right effort, right mindfulness, and right concentration. So jhana, jhana therefore is providing us samadhi, the one-pointedness of the mind. So jhana again is explaining us that the unwholesomeness of the mind burning down. In other words, the way to burn out unwholesomeness in mind temporarily is called jhana. The word Pali word jayati means you burn down the unwholesomeness temporarily. You take them out from your mind. What are the unwholesomeness you take out from your mind temporarily when you practice jhana and attain to? It's called 5 hindrances, pancha nivarana. these 5 unwholesomeness hinder you attain to peace and happiness. In other words, they block you reaching spiritual happiness. Kama chanda, sensual, desire for sensual pleasures. Vyapa, the ill will. Tina made the laziness and sleepiness to spiritual wholesome practices. And restlessness is called uddacha kucha, and skeptical doubts is called vichikicha. So if you have these 5 things, there is not opportunity for you to enter into peace and happiness. So they are representative of unwholesomeness. So we talk about jhana. So Venerable Ananda explained dasama, that this is the first way to attain to full enlightenment, attaining to first jhana. When you attain to first jhana, as I said, you clears your mind from 5 things. It is said here, quite secluded from sense desires, secluded from unwholesome mental state. These 2 words, sense desire means kama chanda, and unwholesome states are the other 4 of the 5. Ill will, laziness and sleepiness of your mind, and restlessness of your mind, and doubts, skeptical doubts. So when you take your mind away from these 5 hindrances, that means you practice something wholesome and enter into this state of mind. There you have first jhana. First jhana has 5 qualities. When you meditate or when you do a particular wholesome activity, you would be able to enter into this particular experience. Check whether you have 5 hindrances in mind. If you find out that I don't feel any of these 5, that means you should be in the first jhana. But it doesn't happen just because of isolation for nothing. You have to have a wholesome object in mind, and you have to reflect on it. You have to use it. Then only you could be able to go into jhana. Even when you reflect the noble virtues of the triple gem, you could be able to reach to this state of samadhi, because your mind is undisturbed by 5 hindrances when you reflect the noble virtues of the triple gem. It could also be a moment that you think of something you did great. For example, you help poor people, needy people with so much physical and mental effort. And later you remember this incident and think over about it in line with the Buddha's teaching. You become happy of your own activity that brings Dhamma shine in your life. So as a result of this reflection, your mind might stay in jhanic experiences into a certain extent. It has happened to many people. But this is difficult in terms of entering into first jhana. Though it seems very easy, practically it's difficult, because our mind is always busy with sensory experiences, and unless you make your determination to do it, it doesn't happen. In today's world, we see from various discussions that many people do not even taste of it, so that we can see how difficult it is. But these people are very good in practicing sila, in practicing generosity, and they are, of course, icons of some meritorious, but they haven't tasted the jhana yet. Of course, in Buddha's teaching, we found that the Buddha instructed monks and nuns quite often to go to empty places from people, to quiet places, to the forest monasteries, and practice jhana, because when you practice it over and over, your mind slowly, getting away from a strong unwholesomeness. So I wanted to tell you that how many qualities we have in the first jhana 5. They are initial application and sustained application. The first one is initial application. Second one is sustained application. Then we have Piti Sukha. Piti is rapture, Sukha is happiness. Piti Sukha Ekagata, one-pointedness. These are the 5 qualities of the first jhana. If you have these 5 qualities, at least couple of, that means you are going towards first jhana or you are in the first jhana. Vitakka, Vichara, Piti, Sukha, Ekaggata. Applied thought, sustained thought, rapture, and then happiness, Sukha, and Ekaggata, one-pointedness. Check your mind when you engage with Dhamma listening, meditation, chanting, and even you do reflection on certain Dhamma elements. You could experience this. So, is this all Venerable Ananda said to Dasama? No. He said after this, after you attain to first jhana and experience it very well, and sustain on it very well, the meditator, the particular person who attained to it, considers that even this first jhana is abhisankatang abhisanchetitam. Let me get the real Pali word. As I remember, it is abhisankatang abhisanchetitam. The one who practiced first jhana and the one who attained to first jhana considers that the first jhana is mentally constructed and internally formed. Abhisankatang abhisanchetaita. This is the very important 2 words in this factor, in this discourse, because it tells everything. Once you attain to this blissful state, you consider that this is mentally created and internally formed. What does this mean? It was not there in your mind before. Right now, with wholesome practice, you gain it. What does it mean? It could also end. It is impermanent. It's a state of impermanence. It's subject to change. This is not a permanent state. So therefore, what is constructed and internally formed is impermanent, subject to ending. So if you want to attain full enlightenment, arahantship, or anagami state through the first jhana, or keeping the first jhana as the basis for, you have to see the impermanence on the first jhana. Having seen the impermanence on the first jhana, you do not attach to it. You do not stay there. You do not hold on to it because you see it is impermanent. Do you see that Gautam Siddhartha, when he practiced different type of teachings for salvation, he mentioned that those formless jhana he experienced under 2 teachers, he said that they are not subject to enlightenment. If anything is not subject to enlightenment, they are not important. No matter how blissful they are, if they do not support full enlightenment, they are not considered that important. So attaining to jhana, of course, is really good. It is in the path to nirvana, of course, because for a period of 1 day, 1 hour, 1 day, maybe couple of weeks, You live without any development of craving, attachment, ignorance. That aspect is there with the jhana, because that's why Buddha, Gautama Siddhartha thinks just before his enlightenment, he practiced all kinds of method. He failed in attaining enlightenment. Then he thought that the middle path would be the path for enlightenment. Before he sat down under the Bodhi tree on the full moon day of May, he thought that at some point of my life, I practice jhana, I practice absorption. That could be the path for full enlightenment, because that happiness in first jhana, in jhanic experiences, do not invite you to create attachment. It is totally away from greed, hatred, and ignorance. So that this would be the path for enlightenment, he thought, and practiced jhana before his full enlightenment. This tells us that practicing jhana is okay, because there is a momentary nibbana there. There is a momentary emptiness there, because your mind is empty from hindrances. But in order to reach to vipassana based on first jhana, you have to see the philosophy of your very jhanic experience. This is too technical, right? Are you trying to think? Yeah, what this thing? Oh, yeah. If I say this from a different angle, suppose you are so happy about your practice. There are days that we find that right of happiness in meditation. Sometimes listening to Dhamma gives us so much confidence. So we feel sometimes that our mind is totally free, burden free, right? Imagine that you could you could analyze that even this mind is impermanent. A lot of people don't do that. Suppose you are so happy, and if I come to you and tell you that your happiness is impermanent, perhaps you don't like, because you are so elated with happiness, joy, gladness, and I'm coming to you and tell that don't enjoy too much about it, because this is going away from you. You dislike me because I'm telling something negative for you. But it is the truth. So the person who come to this level of concentration thinks now that this particular peaceful experience is abhisankatang, mentally created, abhisanchetayitang, internally formed. So what is created is always impermanent. What is created by mind, what is created by based on four elements, everything in the world include into these two statements. Either they are created or self-created. Trees and mountains and the water, the planet Earth, the sun and the moon, they are part of the nature. No one, according to Buddhism, they are created by no one, right? That's the nature. So they are also impermanent, and what we create in our mind is called ideas. Rupa Vedana, Sanya, Sankara, Vijnana, five aggregates, they are all impermanent. So in this situation, the meditator seriously think that this happy, peaceful state of mind, particularly vitakka, vichara, piti, sukha, ekaggata, applied thought, is impermanent. Sustained thought are impermanent, and rapture is impermanent. Happiness is impermanent, and the one-pointedness of the mind is also impermanent. Why? Because they were created intentionally. So when you have that reflection or vipassana geared observation, his mind is going to be steady on the subject. What is the subject? Everything is impermanent. Sabbe sankara anicchati. His mind is going to be strong in that sabbe sankara anicchati. All conditions, things are impermanent. Here, all condition means the experience you are having now, the first jhanic experience is impermanent. As he is able to sustain in that mindset very much, the confidence about the Dharma is built. The confidence on what he is doing is also clear to him or her, so that you can destroy all kind of mental influxes. It's called asava. When unwholesomeness starts and continues to grow from each moment is called asava. Asava is a Pali word for mental influxes, and asava is also, I cannot remember the other translation for it. There are a couple of. So this word is given for unwholesome state of mind that comes from outside and developed and shaped inside. So they are very powerful. They are not taken out easily. So when you come to this level of reflection, okay, this jhana that I experience, it is peaceful, happy, and joyful, but it is impermanent because they were created, they were formed internally. So when you see that, your mind is steady on the subject, so that you would be able to destroy all kinds of cankers, all kinds of asavas in mind. We know that destruction of influxes or asavas, he tells us where we are in the training. If you there are three kinds of main influxes. First one, kama asava, strong, widespread desire for sensual pleasures. Bhavasava, bhavasava means clinging to existence. You know, we strongly, we are bound to be so and so. We feel that I am here and everybody else over here around me, and the fact that I live is believed very much. So bhavasava, being able to exist, being able to not only regarding yourself, but of course other things as well. You accept the fact that they exist. So you like to be in that. That's called bhavasava. And avijjasava, we have the tasava also, a strong desire for views. And avijjasava means the ignorance is playing a role here as asava. When it is powerful, everything is going to be muddled, everything is going to be dark in mind. So when you can destroy these asavas with the vipassana approach to first jhana. Venerable Ananda explained these things to Dasama, I think in details, but when he recorded as a sutta, he mentioned only important things, but quite enough to understand what exactly he means. Right now we know one way to nirvana directly, and that is attaining the first jhana, right? Then we go to the second one. No, I think I have to read this. If he does not attain the destruction of the mental influxes because of that desire in dharmas, that delights in dharmas, then with the destruction of five lower fetters, he becomes one with the spontaneous birth, and there attains final nirvana, not subject to returning from that world. This is Dasama, this is that one thing that the Buddha explained to us for attaining enlightenment. So, Venerable Ananda tells here that if you like the Dharma so much, there you have a kind of Dharma raga, kind of subtle. I'm careful of using attachment, but a type of strong feeling on Dharma is there, and then you don't attain full enlightenment because you have that desire for Dharma rag. But you can attain to third level of enlightenment, anaga. So now this is the first door to nirvana, right? What do we do here in terms of meditating, in terms of reflecting? We know from various sources and discussions that three characteristics should be seen, should be practiced in order to break unwholesomeness. What are the three? Impermanence, anicca; dukkha, unsatisfactoriness; and non-self is anatta. These are the three things we have to see from each and every animate and inanimate thing, each and every physical and mental phenomena. If we see impermanence, unsatisfactoriness, and non-self, that is leading us to this level of dharma. Do you get it?
Complicated.
It's complicated.
But
what is complicated? Your mind?
No.
Everything is made by, we say, based on the Buddha's teaching. When we say everything, what exactly it means? It means us. It means every object here. The walls, the house, the light, the sun, and the moon, the soil, water. Every physical aspects, phenomena is impermanent.
Impermanent. Understood.
Understood, right? What is impermanent could, is really subject to suffering. That is
Striving,
also clear.
Suffering, yes.
Because that suffering is not crying, on anything, any change. The suffering is a fundamental suffering. That means if everything is impermanent, how can we keep so-called happiness on them always? For example, we like, let's say we like somebody very much, or something we want to use. So we don't want that particular thing to change. For example, the rose flower over here is beautiful now. The color is nice, the smell is there. So I want this rose flower to be like that for all days. But it doesn't happen. It has the nature of changing. So if we build permanent ideas on impermanent objects, the suffering arises. Suffering is a reality. That's why it is said, what is impermanent is leading us to suffering. Suffering due to change, suffering due to the conditional nature of it. We do not attack. We have to see the suffering nature of all conditions things. So you are a conditional thing, I am a conditional thing, because conditional thing means we are created by with so many factors. Hetum paticca sambhutam, when things come to life with many things, they have the nature of ceasing as well. So now we come to the final investigation. Everything is impermanent. When everything is impermanent, everything is subject to suffering, and therefore I do not find I, me, and myself that possessiveness to those impermanent things, those things that gives us suffering. We do not attach to, we do not hold on to. That's called non-self. So if you are able to see these characteristic features, impermanent, unsatisfactoriness, and non-self in each and every aspect, there you let go of asavas, influences. Your mind is going to empty from craving, unwholesomeness. Right? So that is what it happens. So remember the path for it. First, we there are certain things that Venerable Anand didn't discuss here. How does one attain to first jhana? Can he or she attain to first jhana directly just because No, it doesn't happen. You have to practice sila. Sila means moral. You should practice moral principles. For a certain period of time, you should be away from killing and harming living beings, stealing, sexual misconduct, verbal, issues,
False
and
speech.
false speech, and gossip and so on. And
intoxication.
you have these are the 5 things, but there are many other things around it. So you have to be morally wholesome for a certain period of time in order to practice jhana and gain the results of it. Otherwise, you always meditate, you always try, it doesn't work. Right? So that is not being discussed here. It is implied. So right now with the base seal as the basis, we are able to practice first jhana, and not only one time, you enter into it many times so that you have enough confidence on it. Then you switch yourself to see the impermanence, the conditional nature of your peaceful mind. Though this is pleasant now, it is impermanent, so that you slowly move away from attachment or desire for particular jhanic experience. So that is the first way to go to nirvana. And you can easily assume that what are the other ways? Second jhana is the second approach. Did I tell you that there are 11 approaches?
11,
Yeah, I told you that. So the first one is first jhana, second one is second jhana. Second jhana is much higher than the first one in terms of quality wise. Right? In the first jhana, your mind is still talking, your mind is still, but not out of the box. When you are in the first jhana, your mind is talking about the particular mental state. Even with some disturbances, your mind is undisturbed because it talks about what you are experiencing now. That is what called first jhana is. When you go to the second jhana, you stop that nature of thinking, talking, but rely on the samadhi experience. Samadhi, jang, piti, sukha, the happiness The gladness, joy in your mind is now based on purely concentration. So you don't need much words there. You don't need vitakka vichara, sustain and apply thought very much in that second jhana. That's why it is better than the first one. And when you go to the third one, upekka, equanimity is rising immensely there. So equanimity as a quality is so serene and peaceful. It means your mind is undisturbed by any sensory experience. It's like you cut off the way to normal conditions of life. You are elevated into a certain stage of mind where there is no disturbance. So a lot of meditators would like to stay in this third jhana very much because of that peaceful nature, right? That's the first jhana. And the fourth jhana is a particular mental state in the jhanic experiences, because lot of arahants, when they practice all the practices, come to this state of jhana and in their cycle of samsara there, because fourth jhana, when you come to fourth jhana after few stages, you are able to develop fully the mindfulness. And then samadhi has reached to the highest, and then equanimity is taking lead there, so that it is highlighted also. So that fourth jhana is a kind of important place of our mind to reach to vipassana. I used this word before. Of course, I'm using it again. What we do after attaining attainment to four jhanas, we do vipassana on four jhanas. And now we know there are four avenues.
So it means we don't need to follow all the jhanas by only through first one. We can.
Yeah, only according to Venerable Ananda, only with the first jhana you can do it. You don't need to go to the other stages of the four jhanas. And if I mention the other, how many we said? Four, then we have 7 more, right? So the other 7 are metta,
Loving kindness.
yeah, loving kindness. Let me see. I know. I just want to get the real Pali word. Metta sahagatena chetana. It means loving kindness. So your mind is fully equipped with metta. That is a quality that you can stand on and do the vipassana. Then karuna, compassion. And this is the 6th one. 5th one is metta. 6th one is karuna. And the 7th one is mudita. That's a full of gladness. Our mind is so happy about the things around us, about what we feel. And the 8th one is upekka, equanimity, the balance of the mind. So upekka is well explained in the Mangala Sutta. Puttassa loka dhammehi chittang yasana kampati. If the mind is not shaken by anything happened to you, that's called upekka. But upekka, equanimity, is explained in a different levels in the teaching. When you come to the 7 factors of enlightenment, the last one is upekka sambojjhanga. That's been a huge one. And when we talk about the 4 Brahma Viharas, the strength we put forward is different. So anyway, that's the 8th one. And the 9th one is the first of the formless jhana. It's called Akasananchayatana. That's called sphere of space. The sphere of space. What is this? It's like your mind is relying heavily on the theory called space. The Buddha is not talking about, Venerable Ananda is not talking about the sky as the space. Even here we find space, right? Even in the nose, you have the space. The space means the uh, atmosphere that is absent from material, that's called space. So you you take the concept of sphere of space into consideration and expand your mind on it heavily, so that your mind is what do you call, living in it. Then there is no disturbance at all. I invite you to try to do it, and I think it is being done easily if you clearly click on it. So you consider space. It's a concept. It's a formless concept, because we cannot imagine what it is, what it's like. It's space. And then you expand, you keep the mind on the particular idea called space over and over. So your mind is now not going anywhere else but rely on to the idea called space. So now it's a sphere, which means a state of mind, and your mind always now rely on it. That's the ninth one. And the 10th one is Vijnana Chayatana. It's called sphere of consciousness. Sphere of consciousness. So it means your focus is consciousness, Vijnana. Vijnana means, consciousness means, since, being able to notice that you see something, hear something, taste, smell, touch, and think. But when you come to this particular experience, you don't want to go on over each and every sense, but you feel that something is present. You kind of noticing is always there. So your conscious mind is taken well there as the object of concentration, and expand your mind on that further. So the mind is relying on consciousness. I don't know how do you understand this, but what I understood from my experience and also through reading, that we put our mind into that idea of consciousness as we feel, and do not let our mind to go anywhere else, any object, but keep it there. So your mind is there without any problem. That's called Vijnana Chayatana. And the 11th one is Akinchanyayatana, the sphere of nothingness. You consider that there is nothing exist. Even you, even every man, here what it means, that Akasananchayatana, the sphere of space and sphere of consciousness, you let them go off. When you in the third formless state of jhana, your mind is empty from the sphere of space, the sphere of consciousness. Therefore, there is nothing. Nothingness means nothing from, nothing with consciousness, nothing with space, right? In a simple term, you consider that there is nothing solid, and nothing to take, and everything is kind of nothing. This is the 11th way. There's a great discussion in the in among scholars. Why did Venerable Ananda talk about the fourth formless jhana? Because we talk about 9 factors of the whole, jhana. First 4 jhanas and the formless jhana, and the 8th one is neither perception nor non-perception. It's a state of mind. When you go to the first formless jhana, you sustain there, you experience it very much over and over, and a moment might arise in you that you can go over it towards Vijnana and Chayatana with experience. And when you stay in Vijnana and Chayatana over and over, you will find a way, get out of it, and enter into the third one, nothingness. And now, when you stay there for longer period and experience it enough, you can get it into neither perception nor non-perception. There, you are in a kind of bewildered state. You don't see anything significant, but you are kind of neva sanya, na sanya. You are kind of in a doubtful state whether sanya is exist or not exist. Sanya about you is a kind of perception whether you exist or not. That idea is the main thing we consider there. So, it is said in the commentarial explanation that it is so subtle so that you can reflect the impermanence on it. So, because your mind, when you come out of that particular state, you are totally away from it, so that there is nothing for you to do vipassana there. In other 10 state of samadhi, you have you can do vipassana based on. There is a great discussion that we have to come out of the jhana to do vipassana. It's not a complete coming out of, but you take little bit away from it and see it. For example, like this. Suppose you are inside the house, you cannot see the house completely because you are inside the house. So if you come out of the house, you get out of the house, but not going away from the house, you can see the house better. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And if you get into the rooftop, you can see a lot of things of the house. If you get away from the house, let's say a couple of meters, in the driveway, you can see the main door, the couple of windows, couple of walls, the roof, and you can see through. So that better view is there about the external and internal house. Likewise, if you stay in the samadhi absorption, you are intact into it, so that you may not be able to do particular vipassana as it is. So you experience it over and over, so that it is very familiar to you. The very Pali word Venerable Ananda used here is important for us. Let me tell you this. The Pali word he uses is, where it is? Yeah. Yankopana kincha abhisankatang abhisanchetetang tadanichang nirodhammanti pajanati. So tatta tito asavanang. So the very word he used, so tatta tito. So this particular individual who experienced first jhana or any jhana we talk about, when he experienced it, he saw it as conditioned and mentally created, internally formed. Having known this, so tatta tito, he did not go completely out of it. He experience it very much so that it is so familiar to him. First jhana is very simple for him. First jhana is very comfortable, so that you, when something is very familiar and very close to you, you can play with that. So that it is not, it is very simple for you, so that you you see the, you have a kind of aerial view about your mind, so that you see the impermanence. Because for a long time, for a period of considerable experiences, you see the impermanence of first jhana. So having seen the state of first jhana, you see impermanence on it, unsatisfactoriness and non-self. There you have the chance of breaking through the self-delusion. So these are the 11 avenues to reach to the arahantship. And if you attach to these stages of mind, stages of samadhi very much, for example, first jhana, second jhana, fourth jhana, formless three jhanas, or metta, karuna, mudita, upekha, you are not going to make it to the final gnosis. You stay, you reach to the third level of enlightenment, because the very word Venerable Ananda used Dhamma Raga. So you can't, it's not a strong attachment we simply talk, it's a kind of delightness on your experience. If you delight, you're not going to make the full enlightenment. So then at the end of the sutta, we see that Dasama's delightness, because he came to know Venerable Ananda just to ask a simple questions. Is there any particular way that we can make it to the enlightenment? Is there any particular easy path we can get into enlightenment? Yes, so Venerable Ananda said, yes, this is the one. And he did not stop there. He explained 10 more avenues instead of one. So Dasama tells this to Venerable Ananda. Seyetapi Bante Ananda, Puriso Ekangva Nidimukang, Gavesanto Sakideva Ekadasa Nidimukani Adigacheya. It means that this feels to me in this way. Suppose that one person goes to the forest for finding one treasure. Finally, he found not only one, but 11. Suppose you go out to collect, let's say, $100. So you never stop with $100, you find 1100. That's mean 1100. Right? You expect one gift from relatives and friends, but you get many. So the happiness is so much. So that when Dasama tells that I came to Venerable Ananda just to seek one, at least one way to nirvana, but I now have 11 ways. So he explained his pleasure so much, so that he left at the end after expressing his happiness. So it is said in the discourse that if I have the chance to offer some gift items along with food items, I would be really happy. Then he was able to prepare delicious food items and offer them to monks in Vaishali, and accumulated a lot of merits. And of course, we see he offered monks, including Venerable Ananda, the robes, and he also made temples for Venerable Ananda and the other monks in Vaishali. This is Attaka Nagar Sutta. I now know our friends can contribute for this. If anyone from here at the temple or from the Zoom chat, Zoom group, you can unmute and talk about your experience and your knowledge. It would be great if you could share your knowledge with others. So this time is for that purpose.
Good evening, Bante.
Good evening.
It's very interesting. Thank you so much for sharing the sutra discussion with us. So one question I have is maybe a couple of questions I have. First one is now when you say desire for Dhamma, Dhamma Raga, is it where it becomes a fetter, like mind become restless and cannot break the last fetters? So last fetters are still there because one of the higher fetters is restlessness. Is
Yeah.
it something where mind become restless, where you desire to get enlightened fast, something like that?
I think so, because it's not a very severe restlessness, but it's a kind of wavering state of mind, because you enjoy the pleasure of the dharma there. That's why you do not make it to the final emancipation. Restlessness might arise depending on the delightness. Right? Delightness is required for us to enter into the basic experiences, because if we are not delighted, we don't make it, we don't do it. So by doing a puja, by doing meditation, we should have that delightness. Otherwise, there is no inspirations to do so. But when you go to the Dhamma in deeper and deeper, one thing you should let go of delightness. That's why upekka is always appearing in your mind when you go to the deeper Dhamma. If you look at the ocean, in the beach, the water is so arrogant, and it's coming out with so much noise, and its shallow water is always busy. But when you go to the deeper in the sea, the color is changed. It's dark and it's solid. No it's silent. So likewise, our mind goes to I think it's tasteless, and it's not that beauty as we discuss. It's no sign, animita, apanhita, sunyata. So what we experience when our mind goes to the deeper level of Dhamma, we don't see those delightness very much, because you have gone through. Anyway, if you have an iota of delightness in your mind with regard to the experience you have, you are not going to make the full enlightenment. That is for sure.
So this restlessness is totally different from the five hindrances restlessness. So
Of course, yes.
This is a very subtle but different kind of restlessness.
Different kind of restlessness, which is in line with the Dhamma, because it's a kind of wholesome restlessness, I would say. Uddacha Kokkucha in five hindrances is so dangerous. With it, we cannot do anything spiritual. But this restlessness is taking you to the third level of enlightenment.
At least you'll end up land on anagami. You can't get fully enlightened because that's a fetter, right? So at least you're not too bad. Other question is that when you say ekagrata, and what ekagrata means. Now I know the five qualities of the first jhana. I hear different things. So what is your view on ekagrata?
In general, ekagrata means being able to keep your mind on the particular wholesome Dhamma you experience at the moment. For example, we recite the noble virtues of the Buddha. So if our mind doesn't go anywhere but stick to the 9 qualities of the Buddha, that is called ekaggata, being able to keep your mind on the qualities of the noble the Buddha is called ekaggata also.
So, for example, anapanasati, if you're doing, that's a common one. So mind is fully engaged in the in breath, out breath, whatever the breath quality. I think your chitta ekagata is that.
It is right. It
Yeah.
is true.
The
Because this is interesting. Suppose we are going to the forest and kill an animal with a gun. So there is a ekaggata too, but it is unwholesome. Because your mind is always mindful about the steps you take, the way you keep the gun, you point the animal. So you're so mindful and conscious. Your mind is steady to the object. That's called ekaggata, but it is totally different from what we are talking. That is the wholesome, the greed, hatred, and ignorance have been the basis for that ekaggata.
Yeah, I asked this question on Ajahn Suchat. He said something slightly different. He said it's something there are no two minds, only one. We are not doing anything. The Vitaka Vitara is shut off. That's about to go into the second jhana. Mind is only receiving, like you are knowing, know only, no doer. So that's ekakada. There's not two minds, only one mind. I don't know. That's
Yeah, I agree with that, because if you go to the first jhana, ekaggata, there means your mind is refined to the particular piti sukha and sustain and apply thought there. Vitakka vichara means your mind is talking only about what you are experiencing there. Like, these words makes things complex. I think when we say talking, the mind is talking. Mind is conscious about piti and sukha. These are, piti is one of the bojjhangas, and sukha is also there with passaddhi and samadhi. So your mind is relying on those particular aspect, and there are no lot of thoughts in that. It's a in that sense, it could be a one mind. One mind is one few things, but in one category.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Any other things you want to share? I think these are some of those difficult subjects to consider if we do not really engage with those practices. I think practicing jhana, giving you a kind of taste of nirvana well before you attain to nirvana, so that the invitation is there in the Dhamma from the Buddha and from other noble individuals. Go and practice jhana, because you can get a kind of idea what nirvana is.
So this is a fourth jhana, is the right concentration, like all four jhanas, 1, 2, 3, 4. That's the definition. But
Yeah,
then
yeah.
talk
But
about,
when you are in the fourth jhana, you
Yeah.
feel that, oh, I have come to the top of it.
Yeah. So Eightfold Path doesn't talk about the arupa jhanas. I mean, this is
Yeah.
outside the Eightfold Path.
That's right. That's right. But Buddha incorporate them in the better way, because every time the Buddha talks about the formless jhana right after the four jhanas, the chances of going away from the noble path is cut off then, because Buddha never recommended monks and nuns and lay people to practice formless jhana at once. You have to practice first jhana, second jhana, third jhana, and fourth jhana. Then if you wish to, then go to experience other jhanas, but it's not required for full enlightenment.
The Alamakarma Uddakaram Puttas maybe had different ways of achieving without going the first four jhanas. They went to the arupa jhanas. And that's why they couldn't get the insight wasn't there at that time. I guess the path was not discussed.
That's right. That's right. So those people who haven't lived with these particular technical terms and suttas might be confused of what we are talking about. So let me give you a kind of simple terms for this. With the word jhana, we talk about clear mind. The mind that is not disturbed by usual stress, frustration, strong desire, and so forth. So when you practice meditation, when you do good things continuously, you will get a chance of keeping your mind here right now in the present moment. So there you don't feel disturbed. There you don't feel unhappy. Happiness is enormous and so gorgeous, smooth, and feel gladness. So this is what we call jhana. There your mind is controlled. You can take the ownership of your mind. Right now, though we call it is my mind, we have no control. It goes here and there. But when you come to that particular state called jhana, you have full authority on it, kind of control on it. You can direct that mind towards where you want. In one of the famous discourses in Digha Nikaya called Mahaparinibbana Sutta, Buddha tells that some mendicants who achieve different stages of concentration can direct their mind towards unwholesome things as well, because they have taken that skill of the mind to keep here and right now. So they somehow find that skills to govern their mind with the quality. So if they want to kill somebody, they can do it by the power of those mind. They can make storms. They can make some sort of control on matters because of the power of the mind. Right. So what I want to simply say to you, especially for those people who haven't lived with these technical terms, is that samadhi is such a wonderful state to experience. There is no disturbances at all in your mind when you reach samadhi level. So do it, try your best. And one speedy way to do is the meditation. So that's all I want to say today. At last, the sutta we discussed today is Attakanagar Sutta. It is the 52nd sutta of the Majjhima Nikaya, and if you wish to read it once again, just Google with the title Attakanagar Sutta. There you find different translation. Sometimes you find interpretations, explanations. So theoretical knowledge is gained about the sutta in that way. So, but practice dharma as much as you can in order to taste it very much. Having said this, I want to conclude today's sutta discussion by wishing you happiness, and wherever you are, may you be able to live up to your dharma. I know all of you live with the dharma, live according to the dharma. Try to do it better. Try to do it in few ways so that you don't miss anything, and have self-confidence on certain abilities such as mindfulness, compassion, kindness, so that you will be one day one of the enlightened persons in this sasana. May you all be well, happy, and peaceful. May you have the blessings of the Noble Triple Gem. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Sadhu.